Welcome to the second episode of Music Zoo. I'm Max, and I'll be your guide. Today's episode is Clyde Leland in the Monkey House, singing his original protest songs. Protest songs were very popular in the middle of the last century and will soon be making a huge comeback. Good news, bad news there, it would seem. Clyde has written songs to entertain friends and family for over 50 years. They can be funny, poignant, political, and almost always in the key of C. Clyde is also Grandpa Clyde, singing folk songs to pre- and elementary school kids at schools and parties and other events in the Bay Area. And for a special treat, we'll end today's episode with a short video by a surprise guest on a roller coaster. I hope you enjoy.
Hello there, my name's Clyde Leland. We are living in very dangerous times, very scary times. Back in the early 1930s, when Bertolt Brecht was living in very scary times, he wrote a poem that began, "Indeed, I live in dangerous times." And one line in that poem was, "What a world this is, where it's almost a crime to speak of a tree because of all the things that are left unsaid." If I didn't know the sky was turning brown, and I couldn't feel the way it's getting warm, if I could see the future and be glad for what I see, when I think about my great-grandchildren born, if I wasn't scared of those protecting me, then I wouldn't have to cry into the sea, and it wouldn't seem a crime to speak of trees. If the healthy could take care of those in pain, and our energy could turn to being well, if people were as precious as the things they make and do, and somebody would catch them when they fell, if that's what we meant by security, then it wouldn't seem a crime to speak of trees. If just one day passed without another bomb, without somebody celebrating war, if fear was not a lever and hate was not a crutch, and gods were not the masters anymore, and if birth was not so much of destiny, then I wouldn't have to cry into the sea, and it wouldn't seem a crime to speak of trees. In the heat of the summer in Gaza City, planes were coming day and night. Water was off 'cause you bombed the pump house and the power plants, so we had no light. We've lived so long inside these fences, we've near forgotten how to be free. A generation born and died there, who would accept that destiny. You found a home, called it your homeland. You said our people couldn't stay. You built a wall and you set up checkpoints, took our past and dreams away. Then came the warnings of more bombings in leaflets dropped out of the sky. Gave us 1 hour to leave our houses, and if we didn't, we would die. That drove us from the homes we'd built there, much as we fled our father's land. Took our children and ran to the schoolhouse. We'd been told that was the plan, and so we thought we would be safe there, the place where you told us to go. We thought the whole world would be watching. We thought the world would surely know. The bombs, they came that very morning, and in that school died 24 who never asked to become martyrs, who never asked to be at war. And the old and sick ones who could not leave home, who from our lives now have been torn. You stand up there and you blame them, saying the leaflets came so they were warned. You say that we don't love our children, like we are beasts who cannot feel. Well, come and hear my poor heart beating, and tell me that these tears aren't real. I dream someday we will have peace here, and the world will live as one. But how will our children learn not to hate you after all that you have done? How will our children learn not to hate you after all that you have done? This is a song for our times as well, although I wrote it a long time ago. I wrote it for the first Iraq War, the first Gulf War. And the sad thing is that I could still sing it today. They're making plans about the battle, not asking if, only when. And it all seems so familiar. Can you believe we're here again? They will not say just where this war will end, but we know this much is clear. People's homes will be in rubble. There will be mothers left in tears. So we'll stand upon the ocean. We'll try to stop the rain. Then they can do what they are planning. but they can't do it in our name. Not in our name. Not in our name. Not in our name. Not in our name. They ask the world to trust their judgment. Ah, but what is there to trust when they speak of the unthinkable, and they act as if they must ride into town with guns blazing? It's like they're living in the past when they say war will be a last resort. What do they mean by last? We'll take the streets to put the lie to the mandate that they claim. Then they may do what they are planning, but they can't do it in our name. Not 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 in our name. Whether they fight for God or oil, or what they call security, or even if it really was to bring the world democracy. If we once thought there was a good war, we can't think that anymore, as only light can drive out darkness, only peace can end war. Not in our name. Not in our name. Not in our name. Not in our name. So we'll stand upon the ocean. We'll try to stop the rain. Then if they do what they are planning, they can't do it in our name. Well, they've announced another closing of a hospital here in Berkeley. They say eventually they're going to close Alta Bates Hospital. Less access to health care for the people of Berkeley. The ambulance is screaming all around the town, racing against life itself, but things are breaking down. That light flashes on darkness, the ambulance goes by. They shut down the emergency. Somebody's gonna die. There's not enough to go around, and so we have to choose. Some folks will find a doctor in, some neighborhoods will lose. So if you haven't got insurance, then you need not apply. They shut down the emergency. Somebody's gonna die. The books say it's a loser, so they close the door. But the pain that's not worth easing might someday be mine or yours. They call what makes you sick your claim, but they cannot deny. If they shut down the emergency, somebody's gonna die. Tell me, how can we afford a war and not what we all need? Do you know when what was good enough became a luxury? How the promise of prosperity turned out to be a lie. 'Cause they'll shut down that emergency. Somebody's gonna die. Shut down the emergency. Somebody's gonna die. Can't breathe. Hands up, don't shoot, I can't breathe. Hands up, don't shoot, I can't breathe. Hands up, don't shoot, I can't breathe. Hands up, don't shoot, can't breathe. Hands up, don't shoot, I can't breathe. Hands up, don't shoot, I can't breathe. Hands up, don't shoot, I can't breathe. Hands up, don't shoot. It scares you when you look at me, but I am just a man. I love my family and my God, I do the best I can. But that doesn't mean that I forget how things went down before, when my neighborhood is in a state of war. I can't breathe. Hands up, don't shoot, I can't breathe. Hands up, don't shoot, I can't breathe. Hands up, don't shoot, I can't breathe. Hands up, don't shoot. If you're there to keep order, why are things a mess? If you're there so we can sleep at night, then how come we can't rest? If you're there to protect us, why do we live in fear? It feels like you are there to keep us here. I can't breathe. Hands up, don't shoot, 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 I can't breathe. Hands up, don't shoot. They arm you like a soldier, then they put you on our streets. So everywhere you look, you think you see an enemy. We teach our young men to comply, but they know it is wrong. we can't breathe. It's already been too long. I can't breathe. Hands up, don't shoot. 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 Was a year before this passed. I remember when we stood there by the station with the crowd, holding on to each other like we might never again. So many things we could not say out loud. Then he kissed me and the baby, and he went off with the rest. And each man there had left someone behind. Love for us and for their country burning in their breast. Now I'll never fill this emptiness in mine. But don't you tell me he did not die in vain, as if there was some other way to die. I can't see one thing good to come from all this pain, and I wish he was here by my side. Then about 6 months ago, a man came to my door. I broke down when I saw his uniform. Was only one thing that he could be there for, to tell me someone wasn't coming home. Well, he called my man a hero, and he asked us to be strong, and he handed me a medal and a prayer. But how will I tell our child it is anything but wrong that he's growing up without his daddy there? So don't you tell me he did not die in vain, like it makes sense when men go marching off to war. I know what I have lost, I can't see what was gained, 'cause I know how much we had to live for. Now they tell some other wife her man will have to fight, so no one can say that mine died in vain. But more widows and more orphans will not make it right. You can't just wipe away crying shame. They talk about the honor of his memory and a monument to all the fallen men. Well, I'm the one who most remembers, and if they had asked me, I'd say no one should ever go to war again. Don't you tell me he did not die in vain, as if there was some other way to die. Can't see one thing good to come from all this pain, and I wish he was here by my side. I wish that he was here by my side.
Graveyard roller coaster, flies high and swoops down low. But don't reach out for the headstones. Keep your hands and fingers close, unless you won't lose them to that cemetery ghoul. 'Cause you know he wants to kiss you. You know he wants to kiss you. He wants to grab and kiss you and drown you in his drool. Hang on. Hang on. You can pay no attention while he's driving your car. Or you can bow your head and close your eyes, pretend you're on a star, floating in the heavens like some precious shining jewel. But you can't pray away this nightmare. You can't pray away this nightmare. You can't pray away this nightmare with its pumpkin-headed fool. Hang on. Hang on. You just woke up one morning and he was sitting there, hovering uninvited in your chair, leering in your eyes. He said you're going for a ride, and your stomach somersaulted through the air. He had you in his spell, no place left to hide. You stumbled to the car and took a seat, and he drove you to his graveyard of old and dusty lies, and promised you a ride and trick or treat. You're not really alone. It's just his Carney Barker spell that makes you feel comfortably lost in his hell-bent train to nowhere, full of folks like you and me. But we can quit this endless circle. We can quit this endless circle. We can quit this endless circle. Quit this endless circle. We can quit this endless circle and return to the land of the free. Hang on, hang on. Organize.